Well, welcome to ShareTreck. It's the 9th of March, 2022, and I don't have too much of news, just one news article that I wanted to talk about to highlight a point that I want to make. And after that, we are going to look at the technical analysis of NASDAQ and the VXN, and then for the biotech shares, the genomic shares that we track. So that's what we got for today. Let's get started. The first news article I have is Sherlock Biosciences unearths $80 million to bring CRISPR-based test into home. So this news article talks about the fact that Sherlock Biosciences has been able to get around $80 million in new funding to continue its work in bringing COVID-related tests and other tests. They succeeded with the COVID test kits and got a FDA emergency approval. And as a result, a lot of private equity venture capital funds are pouring money. So they got 80 million. Just to contrast, they started the launch with a $35 million venture capital input. And now they have got another 80 million. So it basically goes to show that while the stock market might be developing cold feet and not valuing CRISPR stocks the way it should be, the private equity definitely does value CRISPR and its potential, and they're pouring money in there. And that seems to be validating what Kathy Woods spoke about recently in one of her interviews. I have a separate video on that at a later stage, probably towards the weekend. But suffice to say, this news article illustrates that there is still a lot of value in CRISPR, and the private investors and venture capitalists are absolutely bought into it. However, because of the overall weakness of the share market and the volatility, the listed CRISPR and Genomics shares are not getting as much traction. So let's keep that at the back of our mind before we think of selling any of the undervalued genomic stocks that we may have in our portfolio. So that's about all with regard to the news that I have for now. Let's get started with technical analysis of NASDAQ and the VXN. Okay, for a change, I'm starting with the US oil today because that is the theme of my theory. What has happened in my mind is that the market has bounced back today. I still believe it's a dead cat bounce. Which means investors who have miscalculated this as being the bottom of the market decides to buy up, assuming that the market is going to continue going up. So they are come out of the sidelines and put their cash and bought up the market. That's my theory. I'm still holding on to it. And to back it up, my rationalization is that the US oil, which had touched at a point of time around 129, came to a situation where there were no new investors willing to push up oil price further. So nothing has changed in the environment. The US-Ukraine crisis is still going on. The oil, strategic oil reserves data is going to come up on Wednesday. So at this point of time, oil investors do not have any new catalyst for oil to go up further. And there's also a fear that potentially if the oil reserves data comes to show that there is more oil in the reserves than expected, then there would be a drop in the price of oil. So all that lack of clarity with regard to the direction of oil price has made many new oil investors afraid to step in at a high level of 129 US dollars. And therefore, what has happened is in the absence of buyers, the supply seems to be higher and the price is coming down. It will keep on coming down until people start seeing that the risk position is very less. And regardless of everything, even if there is a little extra in the strategic oil reserves, we will still be able to command a certain amount of price, and that price could be $115, that could be $110. Whenever that price is reached, the oil prices will stabilize and money will start moving back from the stocks into oil. And on Wednesday, let us assume that until Wednesday, oil price drops. On Wednesday, if we find that the strategic oil reserve was as per expectation or slightly below, you will see the oil price spike back up again. So where is all that money coming from? The money is moving around the sectors. So when it's not going into oil, it's coming into stocks, and we see NASDAQ going up. And when oil is going up, money is going out of NASDAQ and going into oil. So that's the way I look at it. My theory will be proved to be true or false when we in the next couple of days, and it will be a valuable learning experience. Please let me know in the comments what you think, and we have just got another 10 hours before all these things start unraveling and the answer is revealed. So put your comments there and say whether you agree with my theory, or if you have another theory, please state that there so that we can enlighten ourselves. Now let's go on to look at the VXN. Of course, the VXN has fallen down by around 5.55%, but it is still at very elevated levels. And I'm going to get into a 1-year view, which is what we are comfortable with when it comes to looking at VXN. As you can see, our diagonal line is still holding well, and we'll soon test and see whether it can continue to offer a support. And the good thing for us would be if it doesn't offer a support and we fall below it. Right now, our 9-day EMA, which is this yellow line, is giving it support, and it's followed by a support by the orange line, which is the 20-day EMA. So that's the situation with VXN. And if you look at the MACD, even though it is bullish, it's going towards the signal line, as can be seen by the histogram, which is becoming lighter colored and smaller in size. So that's very heartening. And also the momentum is dropping here. These are really good signals. And if we go to a 1-day time frame and we look at it, we can see that the MACD is already bearish, and it's widening its deviation from the signal line on the bearish side, and the momentum is also falling, and it's way below average. So these are all good signs for today. So right now, at least for the next 3 hours or 4 hours, I can confidently say that the VXN will continue dropping and NASDAQ will continue to increase. But what could happen before the end of the day is something that I can't hazard a guess, because there could also be a sharp downturn by the end of the day, because oil may decide to suck in the money again. So let's see what happens there. If we go to NASDAQ, we can see NASDAQ has gained 2.63%, and that's around 337.94 points. This is the most healthiest bump that we have seen in NASDAQ in the very recent past. I'll go on to a 1-year view to have a look at what's happening with NASDAQ. And if you see here, we are still within our bearish downward channel. However, we have broken past our previous resistances, and they have now become our support. So I'm going to mark them as supports. And 13,031 is our latest support, 13,031. And we are above that right now. And our next resistance is 13,185.70. And we are at 13,136.80. So I'm thinking that by the end of the day, we would test the resistance and probably come down, given that the money is coming from a different sector, and it could as well go back into that sector. Nothing has changed in the environment. Ukraine crisis is not resolved. Interest rate hike is definitely happening. Inflation has not gone down. We do not have oil reserves data to give any positive catalyst for oil price or negative catalyst for oil price. If the oil price gets a positive catalyst, volatility will go up and NASDAQ will go down. If the oil price gets a negative catalyst, oil price will go down and NASDAQ will start to go up. So these are the dynamics that I'm seeing in the market. So if any of this gets triggered before the end of the day, NASDAQ can go down. Now let's go and have a look at our biotech shares. So as you can see here, I have sorted it according to the most profitable ones being on the top. PACB is at the very top. And if we go into PACB, this is each of these candles are one day candle. And the time now is around 10:36. So I did my NASDAQ analysis around 10:20 a.m. Right now it's 10:37, and we are looking at the biotech shares. So 7.7% gain for PACB, and our earlier resistance, I'm going to mark it as support. And MACD is bullish, continuing to deviate from the signal line in a bullish manner. And momentum is picking up and coming to average levels. As soon as it goes above average, that will indicate a more robust increase in price. So PSEB is going positive, and I guess it will stay positive today based on the indicators out here. Verve is up 7.16%, and it has got over the 9-day exponential moving average. So it's got at least one support line right away, and it's now negotiating with the 20-day exponential moving average, which is at 29.14. Presently, the price is at 29.02. So in a short while, we should have the support from the 20-day EMA also. Our MACD is looking bearish, but it's tending towards the signal line, and the momentum is picking up. It's still below average. So both have to go up a little bit for Verve to pick up more positive points and to challenge our next resistance at 29.72. So hopefully that will happen before the end of the day, assuming there is no new catalyst and oil doesn't suck in the money from the stock market. Caribou Biosciences is up 6.93%, and it's got now support from the 9-day EMA and constrained by the 20-day EMA, which is this orange line. MACD is turning bullish, and momentum is moving, inching closer towards average. So that shows renewed interest in the stock. So we can look for some more positive growth in Caribou before the end of the day. ARCG is up 6.46%, and we have gone above our previous resistance, which I'm going to mark now as a support line, that is at 42.62. Our next resistance is going to be the 20-day EMA, whereas the 9-day EMA is now a support for us. The MACD is turning towards a signal line and may cross over anytime because the momentum is picking up and going towards average and tending towards above average. So if that trend continues, our MACD is going to cross over to the bullish side, and we'll have more gains for ARCG before the end of the day. And as far as I am concerned, I'm still in negative with my ARCG holding by almost 10%. So if I get to a positive in ARCG, I'm definitely going to sell and hold back the money and wait for everything to clear up. But if I break even and the indicators do not look as volatile as they do right now, I'll stay invested and start dollar cost averaging on my way up. So that is my strategy. Allogene is up 5.64%, and the MACD is bullish, and the momentum is suddenly picked up, and it's sharply moving upwards, but it is still very weak. It has a long way to go before it reaches average on the RSI. And we have now got resistance from our 20-day EMA, and we have moved above this diagonal red line, which was a resistance for the longest time. So that is one positive that we got here. But it looks difficult for Allogene. Let's hope this momentum continues to increase and build up before the end of the day, so that we remain in the green. Teladoc is up 5.87%. And our 9-day EMA is our constraint, and the 20-day EMA is also going to be the constraint. MACD is bearish, and momentum is picking up. So hopefully, if the momentum goes above average, we will see MACD becoming bullish, and there'll be more gains for Teladocs to be had. And the fortunes of Teladoc will be reflected on the fortunes of ARCG, because I think Teladoc forms almost 20% of ARCG portfolio. Intelia is up 5.97%, and our MACD is bearish, as well as momentum is just about picking up. It doesn't look great. Overall market sentiment is good, so I'm hoping that Intelia will end up looking positive by the end of the day. Editas is up 5.59%, that is 89 cents. And we are still above the 9-day EMA, which is acting as a support, and the 20-day EMA is posing a constraint, and it's holding us back. Our MACD is bullish and continues to expand away from the signal line, and momentum is going towards average and tending towards above average. That's a very good sign for Editas. So I'm hoping that Editas is going to pick up steam today. I'm hoping Editas to continue to grow positive today. Bluebird is at 5.84, and we can see 3 green candles for 3 consecutive days. However, the MACD is bearish, and the momentum is just about come into the range. So we have a long way to go before I can claim that Bluebird is going to gain any positive traction of significance. But also it remains a fact that Bluebird is so badly beaten up that it's going to have a dead cat bounce moment. So it may end up positive today after all. Beam is up 5.73%. That's $3.58 gain. And if we look at the MACD, it is tending towards the signal line, and the momentum is picking up and going towards average. So if that trend continues, we'll end up positive for Beam today. And we have also gone over one of our earlier resistances, which I'm going to mark as support at 65.12. Right now we are at 66.03. We have a 9-day and 20-day EMA both as our constraints. And we'll have to wait and see what happens for the rest of the day. Hopefully we'll end up positive. Illumina is up 4.92%, and we have crossed one of our resistance, which now becomes a support, and that is at 322.88. Right now we are at 328.53. So we have put a buffer of almost $6 between us and the support. That's a good thing. 9-day EMA is our support, and 20-day EMA is our resistance. And I'm confident today we'll break through that resistance of 20-day EMA and convert that into a support. Our momentum is inching towards average, and if it goes above average, we'll have a much more stronger performance for Illumina. And our MACD is moving away from the signal line in a bullish manner, and that's a good thing. CRISPR is up 4.21%, and our 9-day and 20-day EMA become our supports right now, and our 50-day EMA is our next resistance, followed by a resistance at 66.36, which is this red line. MACD is bullish and tending to move away from the signal line in a bullish manner. Momentum is above average. All of this looks great for CRISPR Therapeutics. So I'm very optimistic that we'll notch up more gains for CRISPR before the close of the market. IMTX is up 1.88%. Our 9-day EMA is our next challenge, and I'm hopeful that we are able to break that. Momentum is very weak, and it's trying to pick up. And our MACD is also weak. It's bearish and trying to tend towards the signal line. So given the overall market sentiment, I'm hoping that that gives at least a little bit of push to IMTX, which is almost, in my opinion, on life support with saline drips and blood drips and everything. It needs a whole lot of push in order to just stand up. So I hope all that happens today because of the overall market sentiment before things go pear-shaped. If we just manage to get the 9-day EMA as our support, that will be a crutch which IMTX can hold on to. PFA is up 1.74%. Pfizer is now negotiating this challenge of this diagonal red line, which has been a resistance for us for the longest time. MACD is bullish and momentum is picking up towards average. Given the overall market sentiment, I am thinking that today we'll be able to break through above the 20-day EMA as well as the diagonal red line and make that our support. That's the best I can hope for Pfizer today. Novartis is up 1.41%. And it still has resistance from all the 4 exponential moving averages. And unfortunately for us, our resistance of 83.65 continues to be a resistance because we are still below it. And our MACD is very bearish, and the momentum is just about picking up. So I do not know why Novartis is struggling so much, but given the market sentiment, there should be some positive moment for Novartis. I'd be happy if it ends up positive today by close of day. Regeneron is up 0.41%, again consolidating sideways, and our support, which was at 619.54, has now become a resistance. So I'm going to mark it as a resistance. And unfortunately, our MACD, even though it is bullish, still needs to move further away from the signal line. And our momentum, which is average, has got to go above average in order for Regeneron to pick up more steam, or else we may lose the hard-earned gains of $2.51 and slide down during the day. Vertex is down minus 0.49%, and our resistance is still at 239.52. Currently, we are at 237.73. MACD is bullish, and momentum is flat but above average. So I am hoping that we are able to overcome the resistance of 239.52 before close of the day. And that's all I have for you today, my friends. And as I mentioned earlier, if oil investors gain more guts to get back into oil because it has dropped significantly, we may see money sucked out from the NASDAQ. And by the end of the day, right now it is 10:47 in the morning. So there's a long way to go before the market close, and anything could happen. So all these greens are temporary, in my opinion. Nothing has changed in the market. So beware before buying. And personally, if I had any of my stocks in positive, I would just take the gains and generate cash and sit in the sidelines and wait for further downtrends, or until confirmation on Wednesday that oil reserves are sufficient and it's going to bring the oil price down. Because if that happens, it's going to flow through to cool down the inflation. And therefore, when the Fed announces the 0.25 basis point interest rate increase and the focus shifts to the next interest rate hike, there will be a more benign environment, which is conducive for increasing share prices and reducing volatility. So that's what I'm hoping for. So that's about it. So don't forget to put a like there. And thanks for being a loyal subscriber to this channel and supporting this channel. And if you're here for the first time, please put a like here and please subscribe. It's absolutely free. Join us for everything CRISPR and help us grow this channel. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.